Hey friends, it's Renee Bradshaw. I'm doing a client's past life reading. I've done a few past life readings for this client. If you're a watcher of my channel, they are the ones that she has done a lot of past life work, and she has knowledge of her past life, and she's trying to fill in some blanks in some of these lives. So this is exciting. Again, this week, something actually rather odd happened. So last week I did not do any research about the past life she gave me going in. Someone who there is some knowledge on that's available out there online, as they were an ancient Egyptian who is well known. At least I could probably to those who know stuff about Egyptian culture. So I'm not going to lie. The extent of my ancient Egyptian cultural understanding is when I watched Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor when I was probably 7 years old. That's all I really have. And then, of course, I have some knowledge of some of the ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses, but I've always been more drawn to Germanic, Native American, and Irish mythology. So, going into this last week when when I was doing her past life reading, it was interesting because I didn't have any knowledge other than I read what she sent me. And she did give me links to look up further information if I was interested. But I decided not to look at those further information because I didn't want anything to influence the reading. Now, when she was going through and watching the reading, there were quite a few points where things resonated historically, which was very interesting. Now, the reason I bring all this up is because just now I did do a smidge of research. And that is because I have the moon card comes up for me usually several times as I'm preparing for a reading and during a reading. As I was preparing today, the moon card was not coming up, but the sun card was. And I'm sitting here going, it's the opposite of the moon, obviously. Does that mean I'm not finding a connection? It's not coming through today? I'm like, what is going on? So I decided so then after I was done getting prepared, I put out, because I read her questions, though I hadn't read her paragraph yet. I sent out birth, midlife, and death cards, which I haven't looked at yet, but they have all come up reversed. Then this landed on sun card again, so I said, okay, let me read what she wrote. Okay, I couldn't find any in the paragraphs she had sent. I didn't really see anything about the sun. So I went and I did a little bit, and I mean, when I say a little bit, I mean like a smidge. There is a ton of information on this past life, not solid facts, but I mean, what they think happened during these times, from excavations and such. So, I'm peeking around, and I found, I'm already drawn to, I know the answer of one of her questions, and we'll get into that here in a minute. It was about a sister she may or may not have had, and I really feel like that I was drawn immediately to that was the sister. And then when I was researching the sister online, I found out that the sister is Nefertiti, and that she and her husband basically ran a sun cult, is what the interwebs were saying, but they worship sun gods. So I really believe that is the reason why the sun card came up today and not the moon card, because the sun card just came up. It came up 4 or 5 times in the few times that I shuffled. So I'm going to shuffle this deck to prepare for the reading. And so, as usual, I'm going to do my prayers and fast forward, but I've already done my meditations and setup here. Also, I do want to point this out so it's not distracting during the reading, even though now that I've pointed out it might be. This is my favorite deck of cards, and I decided to dye the edges blue this past week. Well, that blue is coming off on my hands. I don't know if you can tell or not, so I don't know. I might be replacing this deck soon with a another just like it, but we will see. But I just want to say that so it's not distracting later on when all of a sudden you're like, is she turning into a Smurf? So first of all these goddess cards that I felt drawn, compelled to draw earlier, came in reverse. This first one is early life childhood. Bast, independence. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. Well, this was reversed. So, first of all, of course, I'm feeling drawn to this whole Egyptian vibe we've got going on here. The independence, I feel like is telling me something that was really tingling in my mind, that you were born into a royal family with a powerful family, and I do feel that you were overshadowed by Nefertiti, certainly. So yeah, I'm getting, so I'll move these out of the way here. Right here we've got the reverse lovers, the reverse Queen of Cups, and then this Eight of Pentacles. So I really feel like you had to work extremely hard for getting anywhere basically in life. I'm feeling this whole vibe of an arranged marriage that you were somehow able to wiggle out of very early on. I can't quite see how, but I just feel, oh yes, I feel you were able to kind of point the finger in a different direction. You were able to, they ended up choosing someone else over you, and this they definitely had more power. Oh, there's like a little bearded birdie on my windowsill. That's interesting. So they have this power to choose their own. I don't want to say choose their own spouse because that doesn't feel right, but I feel like they had more power than you did to back away from this marriage. There was a way that you were able to basically get them to be interested in someone else. So I'm definitely feeling that whole working hard and staying away from that marriage. And then this Queen of Cups reversed, I'm really feeling like you were certainly not the focus of your parents' attention and love. The lifestyle, the family that you were born into, I feel like you were second best, or not that you per se were second best, but they just could not or did not have as much interest in what you were doing. And when this whole marriage that they had arranged and set up for you got pushed away, ended, that was a huge disappointment to your family, because that was kind of like their way to like get rid of you, but also to it would have been a way that they didn't have to worry about you, I guess. So we have the Five of Water here. I'm feeling that you had definitely had like a warrior spirit inside of you. I feel like you probably got yourself into quite a bit of trouble. I can see with them trying to get rid of you and then being unsuccessful, they've kind of started to maybe ignore you. And because of this, I feel like you got yourself in a lot of situations. Definitely a lot of situations that you shouldn't have been in. I see like physical fights, like from a young age with other children. Maybe I'm feeling kind of almost like this tomboyish explosion into life. Like I believe you said, I don't have it up right now, that this was your first life. I can't remember if this is your first life or if the other one we did was your first life. But in this one, I'm really feeling this explosion of I'm here, like, kind of deal. You know what I mean? Like I feel, even though your parents were pushing you to the side, and even though the world was kind of pushing you to the side, you were not willing to do that. And because of that, you were falling into this whole pattern of fighting. I feel like there was times you were probably training or sneaking weapons, I see sneaking drugs at a young age. Of course, the drugs then, they were more natural and more common, but I feel like you started doing them at a younger age. And this was, a lot of this was because of that whole, I feel there was that jealousy, there was that pushing you to the side. And I just really feel like you were trying to find your own way. So I definitely feel this huge explosion into the world. Like, I've seen some past lives that were like the first past life, and it's a very quiet entrance. Like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. But it was like with you, you were like, I'm here and I demand someone to pay me attention. But definitely this independent as a foundation for strength and success. So you were born into that family, but you were not given your independence. But I do feel that you definitely yanked it, you grabbed it, and it didn't always go successfully. But I definitely feel this whole vibe of just really getting yourself in a bad situation here. I feel it's like I almost feel like you were out on a field of men and everyone was fighting and you were right there with them. And I just have like this naughty, like bad girl whole vibe here from you. So that's interesting. Okay, and then middle life, and I feel like some of this is going to be how you met him. And again, another goddess card here that we're seeing, like this whole Egyptian theme here. This situation will be handled in a fair and just manner. However, it was reversed. So again, I'm feeling like that reversed energy here. And I'm feeling this really ties directly. Like, I feel like this is a strong visual here that they're giving us. Like they both have, something coming from their head. There's lightning in the back. I'm really, really drawn to that. And I feel that this was something, I feel something on the battlefield, or this big fight, this field of men that I was seeing, where you were out there. And I feel that definitely where you were talking about, you kind of felt like that, like that certain kind of, like, he rescued you from something. I really feel like that happened. I can see like a, getting backed into a corner almost. And they hadn't even discovered you were a woman at this point. I feel like you had like armor on, you were hidden, you were presenting yourself as a man, strong and fighting, and somehow he ended up at your side fighting. And I really feel like that is the situation, but it's just really, I just feel like such a strong personality from you, from this, this timeline, like not a meek one at all. So, let me see here. Let's get these other, oh yeah. Okay, so we've got like this Ace of Swords and this Eight of Wands, very visually kind of the same thing. And it's like with that chaos and that setting stuff out into the universe. Like, I really feel this was something that you were setting out there. Like, you were battling, you were fighting, you thought you were capable of doing this. And I really feel like compared to many women, you were capable of doing this. Like, you were strong and things were going your way, but there was definitely a disconnect. Initiation. Yeah, I'm feeling like, this was your initiation definitely into this world. Like, this is, you finding your place in this world, and you wanted to take this place of just this strong beast in a way. And then the Page of Cups, like that journey, that young soul going out and finding their way, like that is what I'm being drawn to here. But yeah, I'm definitely feeling like that violent, grabbing the world, energy coming from you. And then we have the One of Air right here. And I really feel like here, this is like just, I mean, I know this is a more of a modern depiction of this card, but I'm just really feel like you were just so full of energy, so full. Oh, you know what? Oh, I just realized this. Okay, so the One of Air and the Ace of Swords. So these are two different decks. That's the same card. So I'm really feeling this whole, even though you're flying out there and doing, kind of taking the world by storm and just doing things how you thought they should be done and just grabbing the world, it was because you were new. It was just this brand new energy. It wasn't anything malicious or wrong about it, or even like, I wouldn't say malicious, like to want to fight for, Egypt or whatever you guys were fighting for. Like I said, I have very little knowledge, but I'm just really drawn to, this was all because of this beginning life. But I feel as though I don't feel as though he was as new. I'm really feeling like a more calmer energy around him. Not calm. Calm's the wrong word, because I feel like he was fierce and strong like you, and I feel like you were a formidable opponent. So I just saw like, like, like if you have a movie and, there's two, like a male and a female are like fighting, and then it turns into a sexual thing. Like I really feel that here. Like I feel like he discovered you were female like some point in the battle, and he turned to you, and then I could almost see you guys like falling in like a field of blood and kissing. And I don't see it going further than that at this point, but it might have. But I really see just this whole violent opening, awakening into the world, and the two of you meeting on this battlefield. I feel like that maybe answers that one question that you had about the, things being a little bit darker when it came to that. The Two of Air, like progression right away. Yeah, I'm definitely feeling like that's like, this is him here, this was you, the one, and this is him, the two. The progression, like he slightly have been around longer than you, but I really feel like you awoke something in him at that moment. So we're going to go into, I'm going to go into the Death card, and then we're going to go ahead and look into a couple other things that I feel like are tugging at my mind. But I did just want to make sure that we addressed your questions before I kind of just opened it up. But so Death right there, reversed Ostera, fertility. Very directly, that fertility. A question of yours was, had you had any children, and had you died in childbirth? So I am definitely feeling like you had many pregnancies. In fact, like this number coming to me is 12. I feel like you had, even though you had 12 pregnancies, I don't feel like you're, I don't feel that any survived. And I feel like this is directly tied to the age of your soul. Like, like the universe is just like, you're not ready. You have a very direct path here, and this child, having children is not on it. But being who the two of you were, there was definitely like a feeling of you needed to procreate. So I'm feeling that definitely, you did not have any successful births. I do feel that there was 2 successful births. I see a definite death of a child, a little boy, at the hands of not you or your husband, but someone who wanted to get back at the two of you. And then I see another child, but I see them hiding. I see them hiding behind you. I see them hiding in a closet. I see them hiding everywhere. They have very long hair, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm feeling a female energy. I'm having a hard time reading this child. It's like they were the second child that survived, and you were afraid, like, even though that the child had survived childbirth, and you were successful in having this child. I just feel that fear from the other child who had been murdered, to keep this one hidden away. Again, I'm not necessarily feeling a vibe of female or male, and I almost feel like you guys raised this child not only in quiet, but also kind of androgynous. Like, you raised them without a direct impression on them if they were male or female, and so I feel like they were very fluid, and I feel like gender fluid, and I feel as though that's how they were able to successfully hide, is by doing that. So yeah, oh yeah, here, and then the seven of swords, the thief's card, the hiding card, and with it being reversed, it's not necessarily you in hiding. It was that child in hiding. And then with the King of Cups, who's like often that father figure or that grandfather figure, and then backing you, being backed into a corner, I just feel like, again, you were kind of forced, okay, so the child that survived was female. I definitely feel that, but they were gender fluid. They definitely could switch back and forth because they were in hiding. Now I feel as though your husband was still pushing for a male son. He really wanted that male to be born, and you really felt like you were pushed into a corner. And even though you didn't feel like you wanted to have a child or another child, put your body through that again, your emotional state through that again, I feel like he really pushed that upon you, and that is definitely how you met your. You went into labor at 6 months, 6 months pregnant instead of 9, and there was definitely health complications for you, and the baby did not survive either because of the age. And that child was a boy at that point. And then I just pulled this up because I know there was a question that was missing. How did he die? Sickness or murder? Information that she died soon after year 13 of her husband's rule. Probably died like a year after her. So we'll see here. So that could definitely be that. You're having this feeling, and historically feeling like a year after her. And I was feeling earlier like this 1 and 2, like slightly older. So maybe that was part of that. But so all fire energy. We have the 6 of fire, the element of fire, and the 10 of fire. These were all relating to his death, so I definitely see that there was a fire. I almost feel like he welcomed it, though. I feel like it was like a welcome experience for him. He was older than her, wasn't he? Quite a bit. Or he and she, it's hard to stop saying that when it's, the physical bodies sometimes, but I feel like that earthly age difference, even, and I also feel like even without that earthly age difference, it was like, well, I only have so long to basically be reborn kind of feeling. And so I definitely see a fire, but I feel it's interesting though, because I definitely feel that it was welcome. So there might have actually been, oh, there was a fight. There was like another battle or another war or something. And I feel like he was surrounded, and he welcomed this death to him. So it's interesting when I'm seeing this fire. Like, at first I was feeling like this physical fire, like flames, but I'm feeling this fire coming from the inside out. Almost like his insides are liquefying, or, you know, like that burning sensation of really bad acid reflux or heartburn. I definitely am feeling like a poison, something being slipped to him, even him slipping it himself. But I feel like this is in the midst of some kind of change and some kind of big fight. And this was definitely something I'm feeling that he welcomed. And I just pulled this 3 of Earth, and I'm automatically feeling like this whole funeral procession thing. I mean, I know it was quite different then, but I feel like this whole funeral type thing. So I'm drawn to that, definitely being what's the word? Poison? Welcomed. Sorry. I lost my words. Sometimes they just go. And I have a hard time getting them back sometimes. So, the 6 of Cups and the 6 of Swords reversed, and then the Moon card. So I almost see like I'm definitely drawn, you know, we've got the Moon in both of these, and then so I feel definitely there was hiding. You know, we're looking at that. I'm sorry. I'm going back now to to your actual relationship. So I feel like there was definitely that hiding, and I feel like that was totally a turn on. And I'm also, wow, I didn't get this before, but I'm really getting this now. Okay, I didn't understand this, but this androgynous, this gender fluid, like I'm really feeling as though the 2 of you may have experimented with that, or at least you did. And I mean, that's how you ended up able to fight for a while. And then I feel like that was definitely a turn on to the 2 of you. Like, he would bring back this warrior to the castle, this other person, and he would watch you with other women, and he would and then bring you into his room. And then I feel like there was definitely, like, you know, undressing, lots of hands, lots of bodies, and then there would be like a moment of surprise when the other women would realize you were a woman. And that was like, I really feel like that turned him on. And then I feel like you, just this burst of energy into this world, like I really feel like you were really drawn to having that male energy, like really taking charge. And then again, I felt, you know, that blood on the battlefield when the 2 of you fell and kissed, like I definitely see that. Like, and then I know you mentioned something about that in one of your later lives, something about blood, but I see that for sure in this life. So I don't feel like it was only the battlefield that perhaps this blood came into play. I feel like the majority of the time it was, but I'm not drawn to the 2 of you murdering during this life. Like, I mean, there were instances where you guys did, but I don't feel like that was part of your sexual energy, was murdering. I do feel like the blood was more menstruation blood, like yours or other women's. Like, I feel like that was a turn on for the both of you. So I'm definitely feeling just that secrecy, that quiet, androgynous feel to everything, to your sexual chemistry, your sexual connection there. The reverse star card. Now, I saw the star card several times as I as I was shuffling. It would just keep landing on the bottom here when I was going into the reading itself. So with this being reversed, and then we have the Ten of Cups and the Five of Cups on either side, I'm really feeling this whole, just this whole vibe about the whole family not being able to have children, or so many bad outcomes to trying to have children. I feel it really took a lot away from the emotional aspect of the relationship, and this was definitely a very physical one. Now, I do feel that the two of you loved each other very deeply, but I feel, I really don't feel, I guess, I don't know, I wasn't around then, but to today's standards, I would not call this a healthy relationship. But, because there was backstabbing, there was, secret lovers, there was lies, there were secrets. He had other children. I'm definitely picking that up. And I'm almost feeling like you resented having to care for those children sometimes. And I feel that maybe a few times when you lost those children, lost your own children, it was because of that resentment that you carried for having to raise these other children from some, either another woman or maybe, you know, another wife or a lover. You know, I really feel like that. But so I feel like there was a lot of, as time went on in this pregnancy and this children issue, I feel like that's when you start having the emotional issues and problems. But in the very beginning, I'm feeling like this really it's like, it's nice, it's like an equal partnership kind of, I'm feeling. It's like the two of you, or it's like he really respected your opinion. He actually asked for your assistance on things. You know, and I feel like sometimes you would come dressed like a man still, even after the two of you were wed. I really feel like that. And I feel, so right now I'm feeling your sister. I'm feeling because of kind of her place in life, and I'm feeling like she had this obsession with trying to be beautiful, and because of that, it kind of pushed you in the opposite way, even though I feel like you might have been a more natural beauty than she was, like, you know, as far as what other people think natural beauty is. So if I'm just kind of rambling and saying weird things, I'm sorry. It's just, kind of things are just coming, and so I'm just going to share them as they're coming. So I'm definitely feeling like that sister energy. You know, we have the Seven of Earth and the Eight of Water. You know, I'm feeling like a lot of that abundance growing up, and like a lot of you being kept from the limelight and stuff really moved right into your emotional side. And I'm seeing here like there's this mask in the fog, and I feel like that's something that you kept a lot, you wore quite often. And I feel like your husband was the only person you could really feel like you dropped that mask for. But he was also really intrigued by you wearing that mask per se in public, you know, like we were talking about the whole bedroom, bringing other women in the bedroom, or having you dress as a military man, like when going to a meeting, or in your royal room, or whatever that would be called. So what's interesting to me is I've been pulling a lot, like when I'm pulling cards, it's like a lot of the same numbers. We've got that Seven of Fire again, and I'm really feeling this drawing back to him, and that whole burning from the inside out again. That welcoming. It's like it's almost like he felt like he had too long of a life, and he was just ready to pass on. And again, like when I'm seeing him though, I'm also seeing, you know, this here, the moon here behind him, and I'm drawn to like that fertility energy of the moon, and a lot of that was on his mind. And so I feel like definitely over the years, you know, that moon energy is something that came between the two of you. Trying to see if yeah, and then again, fire, 8 of fire. So we had the 7, you know, a 7 and 8 here, and then a 7 and 8 here, and then again with the moon energy. I want to see some of their early romance days. Now, I know we've talked about like the physical attraction, the physical connection, and then how I feel like they met on the field somehow. I'd really like to see into a few moments of your lives. So again, just double checking these cards. No, they don't all have those moons and suns and stuff behind their heads. But so again, fire energy. So I feel like that fire energy is probably something that, and then we've got the 4s here. It's definitely very cosmic here. So the Mother of Earth, reversed. So in the beginning, I feel like you definitely had the more mothering, or not the more mothering, but you were responsible for mothering his children, basically. I don't feel like that became an issue until later on down the road when you started having your own fertility issues. So then we had the 4 of air, which is more modern depiction here, but it's definitely about luck being on your side. You know, trusting that luck is there, opening your eyes and seeing it. Is what I'm seeing, or is what I'm feeling right here from this card. So I feel that the two of you immediately felt that you had been placed in each other's lives for a reason. There was the sexual chemistry. There was the fact that he trusted you and brought you into his inner sanctum almost immediately, when your entire life, your own family had treated you like your opinions did not matter, like you were just kind of more of a burden. And I don't know what made Nefertiti so much more important to you. I don't know if she was like an older sibling, or if she married a king or something right away. I don't know what the deal is there, but there's definitely a reason why, you know, you felt kind of cramped into yourself, and that being with him really made you feel amazing and wonderful and alive. And then with him, with just more of this fire energy, you know, I do feel that it that this battle, this fight, this fierceness inside of him, it comes up for him a lot. So I feel this was something that he carried with him his entire life. He was a strong physical, mental, emotional man. And I feel some of that had to come out in some of the kinkiness that we were talking about. But then I also feel that because of that fire never died. That when that fire took him towards the end, when it took his life, that was definitely it's because it had been part of him for so long. It so easily succumbed to him. He always knew he was going to die in battle. But that was then. This is now, like when you guys first meet each other when you're young. The androgyny is so interesting to me. And then I'm feeling 3 more cards from this deck, and spell casting, 9 of earth and 2 of earth. So I'm definitely feeling, that you guys felt like just magic and just really pulled in together. And I'm just feeling like this 9 of earth, like this extreme abundance of joy and happiness together, like everything was good. But this Two of Earth is definitely like imbalance, because it's reversed. It's definitely imbalance. And so I'm feeling though, and I'm feeling this vibe of this was because of the youth of your soul. I've found sometimes when I'm doing a reading for a soul's first life that it could be a very immature soul, or that there's some lessons that they're just not ready for. So I feel like some of this imbalance in what you guys had was, yes, is definitely because of that, just that immaturity of your soul and the youth of your soul, and possibly even his too, though I feel like it was older than yours. But for him, it could have been like the youth of your soul, or the combination of the two of you together. But so I'm definitely seeing like just that whole you guys really had everything, and you felt like everything was for yours, but because things came so easily with you guys falling in together, there was definitely that imbalance. And I feel like that imbalance was probably that some of that sexual connection that's followed you guys in through the following lifetimes, where things are a little different than like your average normal couple. And so I feel like that's that might be because of some of that that early imbalance, and that early way of life that you guys had. And I'm really drawn, I see this is really gross, but I just saw the two of you on the field, and it's almost like a broken limb that's like missing its body, like an arm. It's just laying there, and the two of you roll over it. I almost feel like but I feel like this is a very strong sexual relationship. And then we have the Knight of Swords and the Two of Cups. Well, the Knight of Swords is reversed, so you know, with that Knight of Swords, it's definitely that charging forward type energy. And so I feel like that was definitely saying that it wasn't always like in the healthiest, since it's reversed. But then the Two of Cups is, it didn't really seem to matter, because whatever it was that was unhealthy in the two of you, as far as this battling and this fighting and this physical problems were, I feel like it really brought you guys together. Now, I did just see, as I'm sitting here shuffling, I did just see you slap him. Like, I see you yelling at him, you slap him, and then I feel like you spit on him, and he grabs your shoulders and pretty much shoves you into the wall and is yelling at you, and he leaves. But I don't feel like that was like a leaving. I don't feel like that was like a huge moment I saw in your lives. Just more that sexual connection. So you know, definitely with the I'm feeling like the energy here with this Four of Wands, that celebration, that reversed Fool, like the beginning of a life, but not really knowing what you're doing. And I think a lot of that was just because of that situation you were born into, and then fighting to find yourself. And then the reverse Death card, like that kind of severing away from your true identity during that lifetime. But I really feel that all of this, like, this was the reason you guys were brought together. Like, I feel like if you had been born into a situation where you were treated just as well as your sister, and you didn't have anything to worry about, and you were treated like a queen and everything, I don't feel like you guys would have found each other. And then I do feel like if you guys had run into each other, the connection would not have been as strong, because you had not grown that fierce coming out of the world, really exiting into everything, fierceness about yourself. Like, this whole thing is just, I feel like this fierce to be reckoned with, really in this lifetime. Just trying to see, there's something with I can tell if it's a worm or a spider or what it is. I don't know, it's random worm or spider, but it's some kind of small insect or bug. It's not even too small. I'd say probably palm-sized. And I can kind of see you sitting there playing with it while he's talking to you one day. And I see you smiling at him above it. I don't... Ugh. No, I'm not feeling worm. Okay, so maybe some kind of scorpion, because it would have the long body and all the legs. But I don't know if that's right either. But there was definitely some kind of insect or bug sitting there on your hand that you're playing with. I can see the two of you in the throne room, I think they're called. Basically, somebody has come, a man, and he's trying to get assistance with something. What is it? I can't tell what it is. So it must not be important what he's trying to get assistance with. But he's trying to get help with something. And your husband looks at you and says, something along the lines of something about the cattle. Do you think the cattle would be okay? Do you think, do we have enough cattle? Something about cattle. I don't know what it is. But, and it might not even be cattle, but some kind of animal. And you furrow your brows and think about it, and you say no. And your husband then turns to the man and says, no, sorry. And the man grows angry. So he must be, I don't think he's a king, but he must be like, higher up on the food chain, basically, than just a regular old person, because he actually gets the balls to talk back to your husband and say something about you, you being in charge and you not understanding. It would be hard for a woman to understand this position or something. And I actually see your husband stand up, grab a sword. He has like a sword or a knife attached to himself or his clothing, but I don't see him grab that. I see him grab one from the nearest guard and just right into the side of this guy's throat. Like, not slitting his throat, but like in the side of his throat. So I'm definitely feeling this very strong, like, your opinion really mattered. And when people questioned that, they were definitely treated like that. And I don't think they questioned it very often. And then I feel as though once they accepted that, though, I don't feel like this was a great stride for womankind. While I do feel like many women in this position, their opinion was probably higher than someone on the other side of the globe at the time, a woman, but I feel like it still wasn't quite as high. Or there were reasons why they said a woman couldn't understand the things they were coming to him about. And I think that's because it was like war questions, boundary questions? Does boundary questions sound right? But I'm definitely feeling a strong sense of the two of you working as a team. And I feel that sometimes you guys worked as a team so well, people forgot you were a team and only referred to one of you, which is interesting. And I'm kind of feeling everything drawing back, and I'm really not even sure where we just were. So it's kind of interesting when the guys are sharing information. It's a lot. Sometimes I know I'm jumping around, and when I try to control and work with one part of the question, I get like a really bad headache. So I just try to go with what is coming. And I know sometimes it might sound weird, and it might take you more than one listen through to understand what all was coming out if I jump around too much. But then it's like when they really hit like that point, I don't know if it's like my energy has depleted, or if they're like, okay, that's all the information you get for right now, but I can really feel them, or all the information they're going to give me. It's like I can really feel like them pulling back. It's like my head is really heavy, and then it's just like opening up and pulling back again. But that was a really interesting reading. I think I don't really remember what we talked about now, but I'm gonna need a I don't know, a good stiff drink or something after all of that. But I really appreciate you getting this past life reading. I hope there's some new information in there for you, and I hope everything resonated well, and you're able to see what we were talking about. But yeah, I hope you have a really blessed day.